I'm Colleen Derrick with Swaggers Insurance, and we are on Investing in Life Stages 1.2 of Adulting Startup, Near and Far. Safety net. Near safety net is what we call an emergency fund. It means you have cash set aside for when things happen, because you're living life, things are going to happen. They are maybe unexpected in how they happen, but they are not unexpected in that life happens. We get surprises, things break down, bad stuff happens, you need cash. We have layoffs, you have a week you can't work. That's just life. And to pull from our investments when those things happen is not a good choice. That's why we need an emergency fund. So you can stick with an investing strategy and not pull out at an unplanned time. The far safety net is that, yes, you have investments and you are probably going to have some of them for a long-term investment strategy as a backup in the future when you're retired or if you have health problems. That's a longer range safety net. And you can invest for that over the course of 10, 15, 20 years to have that money ready for that later time when you think that you're going to have a risk of heart attack, stroke, disability, if something happens. When you have kids, oh my goodness, they are very disruptive. Or as you are in retirement, you can't just pick up an extra couple of shifts or a second job if you need more money than you have. To have a backup pot of cash if your roof goes when you're retired, that's really important. So those would be our safety nets near and far. And using your investments for specific purposes lets them be a safety net in the future. And having an emergency fund keeps them functioning and safe in the short term. JOMO. That would be joy of missing out. In order to have an investment growing, it has to have time. So if you put it in today and you take it out in 6 months for that trip to Fiji, it has not had time. It needs time. If you have money coming in and you choose to spend it all and you don't have any money to put into an investment, you don't have money going in and then having time in investments to grow, this is not going to apply to you because you have no money to invest. So when we say that joy of missing out, as we choose to miss out on some things in the short term, and so that's for some people, they say, I have no money to invest. I'm like, well, how about cutting your coffee budget in half? Or how about putting a 25% of your clothing and makeup or hair or motorcycle, gas, anything that's sort of fun and extra? How about taking 25% of that and setting it aside and saving it until you have enough to invest? How about that? That would be the joy of missing out, as I'm saying. I'm missing out on something here so that I can have the joy of missing out because I know I'm doing something that's really important to me over here. When we invest, it's important that we are able to enjoy missing out on some things because we have these other things that we're investing for that we're really super excited about, whether that's a car, maybe a down payment for a house, maybe purchasing a house outright with no debt. What about a sailboat? What about a trip? How about starting a business? These are great things that we can use investments to save up for. And that's really exciting. We need to remind ourselves of how exciting that is. And then we can be happy to miss out on some other things along the way because we cannot have it all. Time value of money. That just is a concept that says that money sitting in cash loses value. Money that we invest over time grows in value. It grows in value because you're making interest on it. That interest is compounding if you don't take it out. Some people will put money into dividends and get paid a dividend, and then they spend the dividend. That's often a retirement income strategy. But when you are adulting startup, if you buy a stock that provides a dividend and you invest that dividend, you now are doing what we call compounding. You're taking the growth and reinvesting it, and it then is also invested in making money. Time value of money says that even if you don't get amazing returns, if you stay invested over the course of the long term, your money will grow. Even if you're holding a bond, or if you have a high interest savings account, that money grows over time. The equivalent is if I have just cash, then it erodes the value because that cash loses buying power as inflation increases. So as the cost of things go up, my dollar is still only worth $1, but my milk that I used to be able to buy a gallon of milk for $1, now that gallon of milk is costing me $6 and I still have $1. So that erodes the value of money. We want to be investing and having time in the markets, time in an investment, time in a bond, time in high interest savings, time in, because that makes money.